Hey, you guys doing out there? This is Chef Tony from SymCast podcast. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First off, it's free. You can't beat that. There's also creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor also distributes your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, as well as many more. And you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
What's up, guys? You are now tuned in to Chef Talk with your host, Chef Tony. Today's show is sponsored by Round the Clock Chef and Simply Sweet Catering and Desserts, specializing in custom meal planning, personal chef services, and don't forget the delicious delectables at Simply Sweet. Also, don't forget to get your holiday desserts as well as picking a personal custom meal plan. Check them out on all social media platforms. Welcome to the show, and thanks for joining in. If you're a new subscriber, don't forget to press the like button and or subscribe. In this latest episode of Chef Talk, I will be discussing the latest and the newest things coming out of the DC FanDome 2021, discussing black-owned businesses and also black creators of content that is relatable to not only just one part of the society, but for everybody. And like I mentioned earlier about the DC FanDome, there was an interview moderated by Echo Kellum, or Mr. Terrific to you guys off the Arrowverse, with co-creator of Milestone Media, Denny Cohen, and added member of the award-winning director, Reginald Hudlin. We all know him. And also, Milestone Media is responsible for the creation of Static, Icon, and Rocket, and the popular Blood Syndicate, amongst others.
Well, let's get into it. Like I was saying before, Static Shock was one of my favorite DC animated cartoons when it first came out. It was always a part of like the Batman animated series around that era. And, you know, we all know about that. That's when all the great cartoons and everything came out, a lot of content, even like the X-Men animated series. But Static Shock, I love to see that because when it first came about, that was like the first image of a black superhero that I saw on screen. And then not only that, he was a teenager, so you know, it's kind of was relatable to me. And like I was saying about what Milestone Media and like in other outlets like that, you know, it gives us a chance to see, you know, to see our culture or see our content being displayed, you know, up there with the greats. You know, my favorite superhero is Superman, but it's other superheroes that's part of, you know, my culture as a black man that, you know, I like to see my own image, you know, just like within the Arrowverse. If you guys are familiar with the Arrowverse, which is, you know, consists of the Flash, Arrow, even Black Lightning. And if you've been keeping up with the show, you can see Cress Williams has been doing an amazing job as the title character, Black Lightning, as well as the characters on the show, like the women that plays his daughters. Just basically the whole ensemble of the entire cast did an amazing job. And also the show for creating the diverse city of Freeland he calls home, you know, just for our hero to defend and, you know, just for him to have something to protect his family. Such an amazing job from the CW and all the writers and the showrunners. They just gave us fans something like that just shows us in a big way. And if we're speaking about the Arrowverse, there's many diverse characters throughout these shows. The CW pretty much showcase all kinds of different cultures and backgrounds that allows us as viewers, you know, just to see ourselves portrayed on screen that way, no matter the race or gender. And Batwoman is another good example of that. In the series premiere, the series showcased the first transgender superhero, played by Ruby Rose, in which she portrayed Kate Kane, aka Batwoman. The showrunners did an amazing job at carrying that out throughout the whole series until Ruby Rose decided to walk down and, basically passed the torch on to Javicia Leslie, which she became the first black superhero on screen as Batwoman, playing the newly created character Ryan Wilder. Also, we have characters like, Luke Fox. He played by Cameron Johnson, aka Batwing, with other cast members like Sophie, as well as the character's family, and now Ryan's mother and brother. Spoiler alert, with her brother being portrayed as the new Joker, which will make him the first black Joker on screen. Also, Supergirl is another example of diversity on screen. Their range of characters consists of Dreamer, being played by Nicole Maines, which is another transgender superhero on screen. And then we have characters of Jimmy Olsen, a.k.a. Guardian, played by Mehcad Brooks, as well as his sister Kelly Olsen, and even David Harewood as Martian the Manhunter. Very amazing cast, very talented individuals. I love that show. I watch it all the time. I actually watched the whole Arrowverse of shows, The Flash being my favorite. Just being a part of the DC universe and just being a part of that comic world. I love to see that. It just helped further push the inclusion in different forms of media and giving us fans a chance to see ourselves, no matter the color, sexual orientation, or no matter where you're from. Now, this concludes this portion of Chef Talk. I'll be back after a word from my sponsors. Welcome back. And if you're just now tuning in, thanks for joining. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and be a part of the conversation. Follow me on all social media platforms and wherever you listen to your podcasts and media. Now let's get right back to it. In the last portion of the podcast, we were discussing diversity and inclusion within the DC universe, as well as the TV and film. Also gave some insight through the Arrowverse and their inclusivity with their wide range of diverse characters, including some from the LGBT community. Alright, now that's enough recap. Let's get back to the conversation. So diving right back in, there have been many superhero women throughout the DC universe. Their inclusivity and diverse characters has been a staple of theirs for years, with different iterations and versions of a character, at the same time showcasing different ethnicities in different or newly created roles for women characters, or having a story of their own. Which brings me to this conversation of Chef Talk. The Amazonian from Themyscira and sister of Wonder Woman. Now I'm talking about the character Nubia. Now if you're not familiar with her, Nubia, she was originally created as Wonder Woman's twin sister, believe it or not. She's considered DC's Comics' first black women superhero. First appearance being in 1973. In some cases, the character in the first version of Bumblebee was considered to be first. But in recent news, DC confirmed that Nubia was in fact a Wonder Woman before Diana was born. And recently, Nubia has been in the spotlight with the comic world, both canon and non-canon, in the Wonder Woman series. She was a Wonder Woman long before Diana. So I advise you to check out that material and become a fan of history. There's even talk of bringing this character to the big screen. Now let's keep a lookout for that. That should be amazing. Now, as I mentioned earlier about Bumblebee, Karen Beecher Duncan, she's a fictional superhero existing in DC's main shared universe. She's also a member of Teen Titans and Doom Patrol. Her first appearance being with the Teen Titans in 76. As I said earlier about who was the first black female superhero, she's considered DC's Comics' first black superhero, arguably with Nubia being created as well. Now, another DC heroine we bring to the conversation is Natasha Irons. She becomes the fifth superhero to use the name Steel, where her uncle John Henry Irons gets hurt. Natasha, she gains her superpowers and uses the code name Starlight. Now, when her powers changed, she became a living being of mist. That's when she assumes the code name Vaporlock. A character based on Natasha Irons named Natalie, she appears on the TV series, the CW show, Superman and Lois, and is portrayed by Taylor Buck. Now, this version is the daughter of John Henry Irons and Lois Lane from a parallel Earth ruled by Morgan Edge and Superman, followed by an army of genetically engineered Kryptonians. Now, after Lois dies at the hands of Superman, Natalie helped her father build an exosuit so he can avenge her death. Now, during the season finale of Superman and Lois, Natalie unknowingly makes her way to Earth Prime in a spaceship, and the show ended on that cliffhanger. So gotta stay tuned in Superman and Lois to see the conclusion. Now that we're discussing the super family, it brings me to sci-fi show Krypton. Amazing show, by the way. But it follows Superman's grandfather, Seg-El, whose family, the House of El, has been ostracized and shamed. Seg fights to redeem his family's honor and save his beloved world from chaos and preventing Superman from ever existing. It is set 2 generations before the actual destructions of Superman's home world of Krypton. This was a pretty great show. I feel like that it ended too early. So if you guys got a chance to watch the show and are fans, then you know what I'm talking about. If not, then I do recommend this show for being binge worthy. Lots of characters and different stories of the Superman mythos. Mainly Drew Zod on the show. His parents were Seg-El and Lyta Zod, Superman's lineage as well as General Zod's lineage. Like I said, great show. Now the DC universe has multiple timelines and different versions of Earth. Earth has its own version of the superhero of Superman. And examples of this can be found throughout the DC universe. Characters from the Superman mythos, including heroes such as Val-Zod. Now in the comics, he's the adopted son to Jor-El and Laura, and also the second Superman of Earth 2. And then also we have Calvin Ellis, the Superman of Earth 23, with his Kryptonian name being Kal-El, also known as Superman. And he also the Kryptonian president of the United States on Earth 23. Now on his Earth, he became Superman in addition to being the president. It is likely that he's native to Vatlo Island on Krypton, near where Superman was born. Now his home base is in the White House, where Brainiac served as his personal computer and even covered for him as Superman during Final Crisis. Then also Calvin Ellis, his character was actually based on that then President Barack Obama. How cool is that? And was later added to Final Crisis Comics number 7 as a version of Superman. Now writer Grant Morrison, he had confirmed that the character was intended to be Barack Obama. So that's even more of a proof to know. Wow, that's cool. Even more so, it's been reported too that actor Michael B. Jordan may be putting together a film or a TV series based on the Black Superman, with either characters Val-Zod or Calvin Ellis. Either one, I believe that it'll be an amazing job just to see these characters come to light on screen. Another win for diversity, not only in the DC universe, but for everyone. Just can't wait. Looking forward to that future.
Like always, today's show is sponsored by Round the Clock Chef and Simply Sweet Catering and Desserts, specializing in custom meal planning, personal chef services, and also don't forget the delicious delectables at Simply Sweet. Don't forget to wear your mask in public settings anytime there's large crowds. This helps minimize your chances of getting COVID-19 or having the virus spread. Welcome to the show, and thanks for joining in. If you're a new subscriber, don't forget to press the like button and or subscribe. What's going on, everybody? And thanks for joining the conversation. I'm your host, Chef Tony, and this is Chef Talk, where I discuss different topics and thoughts from healthy eating and wellness to diversity in the DC universe. I discuss the things we all have conversations about. Now, if we're talking comics, I'm a huge fan of the whole genre of things. I'm a nerd at best. Superman's my guy. If anyone follows my social media pages or pretty much knows me, that's one symbol I wear the most. The son of Krypton for the fans out there. The House of El. We know the story. We all know the origins of our heroes. We like to relate to the story or to what we look at for inspiration out of the narrative. Sometimes overcoming the adversity caused by deaths in the family or someone close to us, or just growing up with humble beginnings. And like ourselves, we all love to see the journey unfold, inspiring our own so we can grow into the Man of Steel or Wonder Woman that we want to be. So there's truth in knowing that in any form of inspiration and means of motivation can be found in anywhere. And that's why it's really important that we see ourselves, or at least see a relatable story, if it's film or television, and even throughout the comic universe, DC or Marvel, so we can be sparked and motivated just like any other representation and include everyone.
Okay, now this wraps up yet another episode of Chef Talk. I have more episodes coming in and more content on the way. So don't forget to hit like and subscribe and be part of the conversation. And again, I am your host, Chef Tony, and thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening.
Like always, today's show is sponsored by Round the Clock Chef and Simply Sweet Catering and Desserts, specializing in custom meal planning, personal chef services, and also don't forget the delicious delectables at Simply Sweet. The holiday season is coming around, so don't forget to get your desserts as well. Also, you get a chance to pick out your personal custom meal plans for the year. Just check us out. We all on different social media platforms.